Hello everyone, welcome to Common Cues. Today's question is whether non-Muslims have to pay a special tax in Muslim countries. In some cases, yes, and in some cases, no. Today we'll talk about where this special tax, what is known as Jizya, comes from. First of all, we should know that the Jizya has more relevance for the students of history rather than the contemporary world. It is very rarely applied these days by governments in Muslim countries given the development of modern methods of taxation. This tax has its roots in a verse from the 9th chapter of the Holy Quran. The historical context is important because it was revealed during a time of conflict when Muslims faced the threat of invasion by the Christian Byzantine Empire into Arabia. Fight those of the people of the book who do not truly believe in God and the last day, who do not forbid what God and His Messenger have forbidden, who do not obey the rule of justice until they pay the tax and agree to submit. The verse orders the Prophet and his followers a specific time to fight specific groups among the people of the book, a term generally referring to Jews and Christians, until they pay a tax and a state of peace is established. This tax mentioned by the verse was understood as the basis for how Christians and Jews can live in a Muslim state. The tax is only to be paid by free, adult males of the people of the book on the condition they were not old, sick, or monks. On top of that, it is adjusted according to 3 levels of prosperity: rich, average, or low, similar to income tax. Throughout Islamic history, the term people of the book was often extended to include members of other faiths, including Zoroastrian, Sikh, even Buddhist, and Hindu communities. In return for paying the jizya, people were entitled to protection by the Muslim state against any violence, and the tax was refundable if the Muslim government failed to fulfill its obligation to protect. The covenant between Khalid Walid and the Christians near the Euphrates from 633 AD states just that. As long as we continue to support and defend you, we shall possess the right to take jizya from you, and if not, then we shall have no right to take it. The rights these communities were guaranteed by paying the jizya tax included exemption from military service, relative communal autonomy such as their own family law courts, exemption from zakat, the mandatory charity paid by Muslims. Whoever attacked them, the Muslims were obliged to defend them. A famous event in history referred to as al-Mubahila is narrated in the Quran when the Prophet ﷺ met with the Yemeni Christians of Najran in Medina and invited them to Islam or to live under the protection of Islam and pay tax. Those Christians chose to maintain their religion and pay the tax. So what is the practical reasoning behind jizya? Aside from providing the state with revenue, by paying jizya, the people of the book who were exempt from military service contributed toward the expenses of the army protecting them. Muslims from the earliest times have followed this approach, not merely out of practical concern for revenue, but in principle because of the Quran's rejection of forced conversion. The Quran recognizes freedom of belief, rejecting compulsion in matters of faith, as we can see from a verse in the 2nd chapter of the Holy Quran which reads, "Let there be no compulsion in religion." This verse was revealed when pagans in Mecca were waging war against Muslims, and a number of Prophet Muhammad's companions were asking his permission to compel Jews to become Muslim. However, the Prophet did not allow them to use such forceful methods. The Quran points out to Muslims that they can't force faith on others because if God wanted, He could have made them Muslims. Had your Lord willed, all the people on earth would have believed. So the people of the book who paid the jizya could maintain their beliefs, traditions, and way of life. Under Byzantine rule, Christian churches in the Levant who didn't follow the state church experienced very limited freedom of worship. When Muslims defeated the Byzantines and gained control of territory, Christians, regardless of denomination, could worship freely. According to some historians, prior to Islam, there had been a similar tax too during periods of Sassanid rule, which applied to males between the ages of 20 and 50 from religious minority communities. Jizya was never meant to be imposed as a burden on the people of the book or to penalize them in any way. Rather, it should be seen as a contract of coexistence. That's all for today. What's your question? Don't forget to ask us.